All right, what's going on, everybody? I am the one, the only, the W-O-O-K-I-E. We got Z.
Hey, here we are. Another day.
We got Drazkar.
Come on, guys.
And we got Ewok.
Hello, Keyforge community. Happy to be here.
So I don't know how much we got to go over today, but we're going to go over stuff and things, Coral. And that's the way we like to do it. But first off, I'm getting up to this. We got to go through the obligatory... What does Help from Future Self call it? The titular segment?
Well, yeah.
Titular
So,
segment.
do you know what that means, Wookie?
No,
That means it's the name of the podcast. So, did we rename our podcast to Why I Suck at Keyforge?
I think we should.
because we could.
No, I'm just going to keep using the word titular segment.
Oh
It
my
does
God.
sound fun.
Do you actually know what the definition means?
He just
Draz,
told
what?
me.
I just told him.
But I still want to hear it. I'm curious.
I want Draz to explain why the word sounds fun.
Yeah, Draz, why does the
because
word
it sounds-
sound
It sounds similar to boobies.
Oh, my goodness.
fun? You can send all hate mail to drazcore@gmail.com. I will not be fielding these ones.
So definition number 2 there for you. This is learning a new word today. It actually has three different
You learned
meanings.
movies today?
That's the
Oh
new
my
word
goodness.
today.
Oh my goodness. Denoting a person or thing from whom or which the name of an artistic work or similar is taken. So it is
or it could be
showing that.
holding or constituting a purely formal position or title without any real authority. That also describes this show.
Yeah, I think you nailed it.
That also describes this show. So, yeah, we're going to keep going with titular. I think it works. But we do have a Why I Suck at Keyforge today. We also have a missing member. So you can figure out who it is. He is in, he's in hiding? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Sheep is definitely in hiding. We actually streamed our match. So Sheep and Ewok here, we were matched up for ABR, and you can see I am here. So I am excited to be able to gloat. This was adaptive week, and it did come down to game 3. It was a blast to be able to play. But Sheep is now in hiding. If you see him, please, tell him he can return, with a little bit of dignity. But
No, he's got to hold his head low.
He does. But no, he's actually out camping this weekend with his family, and we got some beautiful weather.
October 27th.
Yeah,
I guess. I mean, nights are going to get cold.
Yeah, it's cold at night, but I mean, there's a really good group that he's out with, and we have great fall color right now here in Wisconsin. So why not?
We do.
All right, so
shredder decks for kindling.
Well, shredder decks for kindling. Yeah, that is a couple $100 thrown up in a couple minutes. Great, got it.
They are all Unchained decks.
In under a month, we can play Shredder with Whoa.
Oh my
get
goodness.
face punched.
I can't wait.
Oh my goodness. No, but I want to go ahead and talk. So with our match, we did go ahead matched. Sheep did go ahead and bring out his Jenka deck. He's got a couple of them, but his unfortunate situation is that I have actually played this deck. So that's not great when you're playing adaptive. I went ahead and brought DT. I'll actually say I was looking at bringing MM, and Z, you just absolutely pounded me in a little bit of practice when I was looking at it. I needed to change up. I wasn't feeling 100% confident. I like DT, and the DT deck I brought, I wouldn't say was extremely unique or different, but it definitely had a win con and also had some weaknesses to be able to exploit. And game 1, I had huge Amber generation. DT with its Untamed and ability with Keyfrog to be able to forge keys. And that was basically all 3 games came down to key cheats. He did go ahead and get in game 1 his cycle going. I had 2 keys and it was up. And my Miasma Bomb just won't stop you from forging with Jenka. And that was it. He basically could archive it and cycle it, and there wasn't much that I could do. So game 1 went to him. It was close. Game 2 was also very, very, very close. The difference is Grumpbuggy was very active and live in Charflare, which was the deck that he was playing. And it was not a situation where I ended up drawing it in game 2. So the deck that I was going ahead and playing was one of my DT decks that I enjoy. For anyone who is kind of following along at home, it's an interesting deck. It's something different, but it has some issues that we can go ahead and kind of talk about or exploit. And I think that's what is fun with it. It is XF Kremlin the third, and we'll throw it in show notes, but it's Logos, Shadows, and Untamed. And so with the burst that was there, I was a little bit worried, but it ended up on the final turn. Had I not gone ahead and fired Key Abduction, I was going to go ahead and lose, but I finally got the Martian Generosity. It was in the bottom 5 cards. So just a little bit of a delay. I jumped actually with Charflare to an early lead, and that was because Brobnar opened with an opening hand of 5. And 5 cards allowed me by turn 2 to go ahead and reap. Turn 3, I was pushing for that key, but it didn't allow me to cycle cards. And with Jenka, you kind of want to be able to set up for down in the future. But it was fun, back and forth. Came down. Game number 3, we bid. And then after Sheep took the loss, that one was, I know that he wasn't very happy. Some of the cards, we both actually thought the bid was 5, but cards did not show up for him when he took Charflare in that final game. And it's not a matter of my cards came together, but my deck was pretty consistent, and that definitely helped. I actually took that game 3-0. So, yeah. But you can see, I mean, we both had bid. Well, he ended up taking it for 6. Bid was 5. It passed then when it came back. But yeah, what we thought was the right amount of chains, and both of us were in agreement. We talked about it. We were in voice chat, which is great when you're playing ABR, anything online. But yeah, I was pretty surprised to see it went down as 3-0 when we both thought that bid was at 5.
So I know Sheep is not a huge fan of adaptive, but I actually don't know where you stand. Yeah, where are you at, Ewok, on adaptive?
So adaptive used to be my favorite format. I actually, for Shadow Worlds, I was our adaptive player. Sheep actually asked if I was going to be playing Prowski, which was my deck. It's an AOA deck that I'd played. I really enjoyed it. I enjoy trying to be able to calculate how many chains you're going to take. Cards that, frankly, have little impact. Even the Tide has, when you bid chains, the Tide can have a change for that bidding. So I like DT for adaptive, but I have fallen a little bit further away from adaptive lately, just because what I'm finding is a lot of very high-powered decks still have a higher probability of winning. And so then you're looking for hopefully something that's a little bit more nuanced at that high category versus I actually enjoy playing some low SAS decks, but you're almost automatically looking for game 3 versus going to a 2-deck win or sweep.
Just bring power.
Well, but that's what I've seen lately with adaptive.
Yeah, but this is any format. Like we talked about, it's like, oh, what's the best strategy for adaptive? Bring fire. Like that's the best strategy for adaptive. That's the best strategy for most things.
I think it fits in it overall if you don't have the right deck. But I think there are some decks that are just more nuanced that aren't going to be super intuitive.
Right.
You know, Sheep's choice to bring Jenko with Charflare was a good one because
hold on, pump the brakes.
Okay.
There are decks that are not too intuitive. Like most people playing in this and most people playing in Fire Sale Frenzy, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Like we're all seasoned, right? Like none of us can't look at a deck and go, oh, there's the combo.
It is. There's more to it. Like,
yeah, there's more to it.
Even the competitive field, a large array of us suck, and I mean really suck at playing Curia. Like playing Curia.
Well, okay.
Well, Curia is a different type of game. Again, Quixel's a different type of game. Jenka will have there's certain components that you want to see and be able to run through. I'll say that when I played Daesong the week earlier, and just got my stuff handed to me, his deck, which was the national champ for the French national champ deck, was a DT deck, But I talked to him afterwards. There was still a component of that deck that I did not see. The ability to cycle Submersive Principle 6 times, it's possible. And he explained it. I'm like, oh, okay, I missed that. So having reps on some of these decks, there's still that extra level of information that you have as the owner and someone who's had lots of reps. But a lot of these major combos we're seeing, but even with Charflare, there's certain aspects that we're looking at. We had both identified C as very, very important in the matchup. My deck had it was limited on C. And so with the bigger bodies coming from Brobnar, going ahead and having Grunt Buggy out early did increase key cost. And as my expected amber is sitting at 30 with 3 Deepwater Gruins, Ritual of Life, and Key Frog, there's a huge burst potential that's coming from that Untamed house.
This is why you bring Heart of the Forest.
Oh, God. Don't ever do that.
Bring Heart of the Forest.
Not to adaptive.
Bring it back.
Not to anything. Nope, it's horrible.
Bring it back. I'm smelling reprint.
All of those should go to the shredder.
No, they should all go to my shredder, so you can send them to me. All right,
which is actually your pocket.
This is actually, I will put them in the bin for you. Sleeves, the bin. I'll sleeve them first, then throw them away.
I know that Sheep is not here, but he played really, really well, and sometimes the heart of the cards don't come to you. I also made a really interesting play early on where my deck, it had Think Twice, and I had Theory or Conjecture, and so I basically opened up with the Theory or Conjecture, and then was able to Think Twice it to. So I had Eureka, Think Twice, and the Theory or Conjecture. So I had a huge board that was there. I also threw, a huge archive that I was basically building up, and then I threw Edi out. But I actually wiped the Edi almost immediately because there was no board, and I did that with Final Analysis to draw more in game 3, just to try and get to that Untamed setup. At that point, I had actually pushed by turn 2. I'd pushed through, 7 of the Logos cards. So you're now looking at setting up for 2 houses too. So sometimes that happens, but it was a fun back and forth game.
All right, Fire Sale Frenzy Z, where do we stand on there? Who's the big winner?
All right, well, it is all said and done. We started roughly 12 weeks ago. We had 4 to 5, I think it was 5 weeks of round robin play. That took us to the top 16, and all said and done, we have John Beaver playing Symphony Long-Armed Rift Record Keeper, which was the 4th drafted deck, taking it in 2 games in the best of 3 match versus Throatwolf, who was on the Sov of Terswood, which was draft ranked 28. The final match ended up being a 4th ranked deck versus a 28th drafted deck, so that was really cool to see. Even though they were all 90 pluses, there was a lot of people early on saying just because they got a low draft pick that it was some kind of wasn't quite fair. But across the field, we saw several low drafted picks get into the top 16. There was a drafted 39. And we kind of saw them all over the place, so that was really cool to see. And John Beaver will take away the golden keys from Luxury Playstyle. They've been supporting us this entire time.
I was gonna say, what are we giving away for this? I don't even remember.
Yeah, they got a $100 set of keys.
Yeah, nice. The good stuff.
Those are nice. Yeah, those are super nice.
Yeah, I was talking to him.
Set. Z actually hit me with one, gave me a concussion at
City. Well, they're heavy. Like when you flip them over, you hear it. It's a thud on the table. It's like clunk. When they forge keys. So that's really cool to see. In our battle for 3rd, Dilly took it with Penelope over Laszlo, Hiramgraph. So the 3rd place, which was Dilly's deck, was drafted 30th overall. Penelope won over the Hiramgraph's deck, which was drafted 3rd.
Hiramgraph, I just want to say this: I'm disappointed in you.
No.
Top 4, very good.
Hiramgraph, we're proud of you, sort of, a little bit.
Sort of.
We love Hiramgraph.
We're 4th most proud of you?
Yeah, 4th most proud of you. That's a good, I like that. We're 4th most proud of you.
Wow.
Not as good as your brother, but
all in all, they were all very excited as far as the league goes. Everyone we talked to was very pumped as far as what happens next. And after all of that, Sheep isn't here with us today, but he did want us to talk about the value of having tight, high power fields because of the cost of getting that type of thing. It's not always easy to see. All of the players that were in this event don't necessarily have those kinds of decks, right? So a lot of the feedback we got through that, it was fun to play these kinds of decks because again, we took all the 90 decks that were open inside that month and then they drafted them. So like everyone was practicing with them before the event. During the round robin, they got to play them. They got used to them. A few of the players bought them. So again, to all of the people that made money off of this event because their decks were being featured online somewhere, I'll take the 10% fee somewhere. Like I don't know.
No,
but you're welcome for your sale. I did lots of advertising for you. But yeah, they really got it excited out. A lot of people were wondering what's next. We threw out some ideas. I'm not going to spoil anything yet because we're going to talk to our patrons about that first. But it might have something to do with the new format called Alliance. So more on that to come once I finalize my little thought bubbles as far as the next big events. I'm sure LP is always happy to come in and support us. Maybe we'll reach out to GG as well. I know that they are supporting some online stuff that is here or there. And our events do normally involve 40-plus-ish people over 10 to 12 weeks. So we'll see what that looks like moving forward.
We do have a little event called Keyforge Celebration coming up. I don't know if you know that, so we might have to wait till after that. Just saying.
Oh, yeah. It will not be happening anytime soon.
We're trying to run an online event while playing in an IRL event. That should be fun.
I'm super backlogged. Like, I need to do some stuff for my D&D campaign I've been, like, putting off. Like, yeah, I'm going to be busy until after Keyforge Celebration.
Yeah, so.
Well, Keyforge Celebration is, first of all, right around the corner, if you guys are not familiar. So that is awesome.
But 3 weeks? 3 weeks?
No,
2 weeks.
Oh, you have this weekend, next weekend, and it's the third weekend. Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I am
so it is coming up quickly. But for anyone who can't go, which, I'm sorry for each of you, check out Vault Keepers with Joker. And he's going to be running an event that will kind of coincide at the same time for anyone who would not be able to go. Just to have a little bit of fun. I know I saw D-House actually talking about hopefully being able to open his decks for WoW and people being able to see it. So he's being able to stream that. So there's a lot of great content providers and individuals in the community who are just willing to put something together.
I will
whether you're going to be there or not.
I will be bringing at least a camera, more than likely. So, I mean, we could do a lot of different things. We can do a lot of different things from Keyforge Celebration.
Oh, we're going to have
excited.
a blast.
I've been to the Games Hunter once before, so I was excited to go. So, should we get into the article now, or?
Well, before we get there, I know we have a couple people listening, but my question, since Sheep isn't here, you had talked about Alliance, and that word, it kind of varies. Where are you guys feeling now that we've had a little bit more time? And I know that you've tried it out, and we don't have Sheep on one side, so I think it's safe to say.
Well, you say Sheep about that because he's normally the one that turns red sheep and charges. Like, when I actually kind of pitched a very, very loose idea of what the Alliance League-ish thing could look like moving forward, I think he actually kind of was digging what I was kind of throwing out there. Again, like, I'm not giving any details today, but, like, Sheep did not seem his normal hard tilt against it. I'm not going to say he was for it, but he did not throw fireballs at me. And
no fireball emails.
I think Draz was still there. Like after we talked for the interviews yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know.
He didn't.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, he did. He did not go crazy person on me this time.
Okay.
How
are you feeling personally? Because I know you guys have played it.
Oh, I played a lot of Alliance. I think I've hung maybe 30 games on it, and I've enjoyed it quite a bit. Like I've played 4 or 5 different decks 6 times. I really, really need the restricted list because like every time I throw something out there, I'll put 5 or 6 games on those. But like I was like looking at some cards in there. I was like, there might be this one might be restricted, that one might be restricted, this one might be limited. So I'd go to the next deck.
Let's put it this way: are LA or UA in it?
No, I was staying away from that under the assumption that that's just going to be restricted. So
it will be.
I'm not wasting my time there.
It has to be, right? LAUA, it has to be restricted.
So it has to be, but I think what's really going to be interesting is the idea for Legacy LA.
Well,
I think, but again,
it's a very small percentage.
We don't know. Well, it is a very small percentage, but again, we don't know what that I guess we have kind of an idea what the restricted list is going to be, but we don't know the rules surrounding a ban and restricted list, too.
Correct.
So that's something we got to keep in mind. But
we're all waiting in anticipation.
Yes.
I will say that I actually
very impatiently waiting.
I know.
We got 2 weeks until we're supposed to be playing this, so we're like, can I bring this? Can I not bring this?
Yeah.
But I also
how do I pack 2,000 decks to make my alliance deck when I know the restrictions?
Well, no, because you already have it slimmed down. There's choices, and
but it depends on the restricted list, right?
I mean, you have choices beyond LAUA, right? Beyond Library Access United Action.
But what I'm saying is we don't know. Like, if the restricted list is like 5 cards, 10 cards, then yes, like you could narrow it down. But if it's like 30 cards?
Well, I don't think it's going to be 30. Ewok played me with an LAUA. I don't know. Do you know what it came out to? It was not like... It wasn't a powerhouse.
It is not a powerhouse by any means, but
it kicked me in the teeth.
Yeah, and hard. This I'll be 100% honest. I know who's listening, and I know I'm shooting myself in the foot by saying it, but this happens to be an LA Legacy that is falling in DT that I personally own, and these were all decks that I have. I put together 2 other DT decks, and you have the ability just to cycle until I run into my rule of 6 and hit Keyfrog. And the Keyfrog will be killed twice.
I already said it on here before. I would have made life real simple as far as the restricted list. The very first thing that I would write in there would be Mavericks and Legacies can't be allowed. And that solves a 90% ton of your problems.
That makes me really sad, though, right now. Like, it's sad. So much fun.
But that solves way more problems than it would cause, because they are a very low print rate. You're removing a very small percentage of decks, and most of those decks actually suck in real life anyway.
Can I tell you, I also had an LA that was in Worlds Collide. I don't know why I do have the ability to play Triad with LA, and so it's pretty funny to see. But yes,
not funny.
When I can go ahead, it was pretty twisted. On a side note, I went through my decks, and for me, I wasn't too hot on the idea to begin with, but it has captivated my attention. I still feel like I'm cheating on my bestie, Keyforge, and it's not a true sealed deck all in its entity, but it's kind of giving me a different itch of, can I find, like, what can I put together that's fun and interesting to be able to play? I actually went and I did go ahead and pick up a very, very low SAS deck on the market. Just because of one of the houses. Looked like a ton of fun. And this, I don't imagine playing competitively, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm heading out to our local in real life play with Lokakar at Pink Bunny Games. And so I think in that environment with Sheep there with Lokakar, hopefully I can talk Wookiee into coming at one point. There's another local who's there. Those types of decks will be an absolute blast to play. I am not 100% still sold in high-level competitive with all of us throwing a large collection together, but I'm not looking to bring anything broken to a local because I want everyone to come back and have fun, and I'd rather play something that's honestly silly or stupid. That's what we used to do with MechWarrior all the time. Like, I'd bring a build that was just unique and wonky, but
you'll still be able to do that at your local no matter what, because at our local, we always did kind of whatever we wanted. It sounds like they want to continue supporting the locals doing the janky, different type of Keyforge. And while you're on the topic of locals, it wasn't last week, but 2 weeks ago we did our we had an 8-person sealed alliance, and then last week we did an Archon type thing. And normally we only do sealed once a month, and we primarily are always doing that for the store, right? Because we want the store to sell
make
decks.
money.
Yes.
And most of the time people are kind of shrugging, like they they'll play it enough, enjoy it enough to do it 1 month. But like my play group, it's like 8 to 12. It was just 2 weeks ago. They all requested to do some more Sealed Alliance. So like they are engaged in it. They're finding it fun, and that's something that's actually going to help the store, like for once, because it's 2 decks, right?
And 2 decks versus 1. I'm curious if it will last long term. I know a number of our players, 1 deck was kind of pushing some individuals, so we just help out and chip in. But that's when you're buying a deck each week or 2 decks each week. I want to see the impact on the community, but right now we want to be back in real life play, and so I think there's a lot of excitement.
I still think.
Well, I guess that is
play with 1 deck is more than okay. Like that's,
I agree.
That's more than
and
okay.
It is.
Like you're talking like top level. We're getting Alliance, Alliance Sealed. Which I still like the idea. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I still would like 3 decks as opposed to 2. But for
the OP,
yeah. For the top level events, getting 3 decks as opposed to 2 decks, like, I don't know. Like it still feels weird. Maybe it's just culture shock and I just need to get over and get used to it. But like I was like, oh, that's a great idea. I like that. I know not everyone was on board, but I was like, how many times, like, even then, like, I mean, it happened to Ewok, it's happened to me. I'm sure Z, it happened to you at Kansas City, even though that was 2 deck survival.
In the actual vault, I got 3 Brobnar decks in the Worlds Collide Dallas vault, and that was like my home turf. I was excited about that one. Then it was Brobnar. I was like, well,
it's been fun.
Guess what? I went 4-2.
Yeah. Shocker.
Is what it is.
Pulling bad decks and pulling 3 of them in a row, because I mean your chances of pulling a bad deck or a mediocre deck is very high. Not everybody's pulling bangers right out the gate. And it just, I don't know. I felt more. I was like, oh, okay. Well, maybe my bad deck won't be so bad. Or, how many times were we like, well, this is a pretty good deck and it's pretty high, but it's just not high enough to reach that pillar. I thought it was good. As far as Alliance, I still like Alliance. I still say it was my idea.
Right.
I think that
JM... I pitched this almost a year ago. And
none of us listened to you. We've heard this many times.
You could have heard a pin drop in this podcast, for crying out loud. Like, you're just like, that's the worst idea ever. Moving on. And I was like, okay.
We did not say that. We just didn't say anything.
Yeah.
All of this is true. Like, Sheep gave me a tongue lashing, like, that's dumb. And then the rest of you are like, whatever. We're just going to keep moving on. So
I think for anyone who's in our Discord group, to be able to go back to JML's information about lower SAS decks that have 1 house that's a high SAS or a high arc value that's there. I actually found some unique decks that in my collection that did not match a high SAS, but I thought would be really unique and have added bonus or benefit. The synergy would work really well. So that's what I'm hoping Alliance will bring. But the actual amount of decks that are low SAS and have true value, a lot more in this Alliance format, are actually really restricted when you start to look at the data. So if you haven't checked out that little kind of blurb from JML, I would definitely say go back and look at it. It was interesting to read, and I thought, I think it's more data that we want to look at as we get into Alliance. But let's try it out. Let's have some fun with it, and that's where I am at this point.
I'll be having all the fun, with or without you guys.
All right, I mean, like I already said, if I go X2 on day 1 in Archon, I'm gonna be playing the Unchained competition. But while I'm not doing that, I will be doing the Alliance
Shredder
second
Unchained?
Amber event.
Oh,
we'll see.
We'll see. All right, let's get into the article before we get into this argument again.
Yes.
All right. So GG did release an article, The Winds of Change Bring the Spoils Again. I'm not sure if that was supposed to sound like a line from Silence with the Lambs, but it does.
Oh, goodness.
I don't know if they realized it or not, but it does. So we did get some information. First off the bat, we got into the Great Renaming, which was them renaming a few cards. The merchant has now become the trader. The goblin has become the skirmisher. Politician has become senator. Scientist has become researcher. Rebel stayed the same. What was prospector originally now? Scout.
Which was already named.
Yeah, which was already a scout is now prospector. Knight is now defender. Blorb has stayed the same. We can just get rid of that card altogether. Emberling
What's
stayed
the best?
Emberling
Blorb
stayed the same.
forever.
Now, I'm not sure, and maybe they explained it in the article, what happened. Some of these other cards are in here.
Yeah, so like Amberling, what they actually did is they put in silicate for the key characteristics.
Right.
So
like
the cards, the cards that
Captain, what is he? Like, what did he change?
So what Yixel had was he was listed as Rebel. And so what they are trying to work on is going back and forth because it can be confusing. If we're calling for scouts, but you have scout in an earlier set, that was confusing to individuals. So I actually give GG credit on this, that they looked at the cards. Hey, what can we do to make this friendly to everyone? So when we're talking scout, it's going to be a little bit easier to read.
You know what this tells me kind of, though? I don't know. And maybe I'm just throwing my thinking cap on here. This tells me keywords.
You have one of those?
Yeah, I do. It's right next to me. It says Titleist on it, but it's also my thinking cap. Something tells me that we're going to have these keywords are going to become more important.
I mean, they've been important to an extent.
It is Keyforge. We should be using keywords.
Ooh.
All right, enough of that. Dad jokes. We got them.
I'm going to pause you here, though. I think that you actually missed a very, very important piece of this article, and it came in paragraph 1. So I'm going to go back to that.
All right.
And I want to highlight it. So when Ghost Galaxy took control of Keyforge this past summer, we quickly determined that Winds of Exchange needed a little more development work before setting sail into the Crucible. All right. Transparency. They're going ahead and moving forward. Fast pace. But we also need to keep our eyes on making this set the best it can be. To that end, we assembled a group of volunteer Archons or playtesters, as others would call them, from the Keyforge community and started forging keys with new decks to test. This process went on for a couple of months, and we got a lot of great feedback from everyone involved. But if you happen to hop over to our Discord, I think that's the key comment. And Z, I know you had already plugged it in, so I'm not going to steal your thunder, but I think this is expounded upon, and it's really important for us as Keyforge community to kind of be aware of what was said today by someone who is from GG.
So there's some chatter about, like, as far as what the playtesters were, whether they'd be able to come into play for the tournaments, as far as like the sealed event at the celebration and all that. And we got an answer right there in the chat at the same time, almost immediately, which I appreciated greatly. And it was, I deliberately recruited a diverse group of playtesters. Some are tournament players, but many are self-described casual players. They also come from all over the world. The set is for all Keyforge fans, not just tournament players, so it's important that the testing pool reflects that. So I thought that was a big gesture to put out there to the field and say, as far as like where all the feedback is coming from, because I know our lens a lot of the time is that top competitive thing, but like as an event runner, like I try to pitch in like, well, we need to think about the seal because this is what actually like gets my players in the store, that being more excited. As far as like a play experience, like not all of the cards can be game breaking and winning all the time, and at some cards like Heart of the Forest need to stop existing because it's just a bad play experience.
You bite your tongue, sir.
It's a horrible card.
That's my favorite.
Worst designed card at any game I've seen. But yeah, like to be able to set up, to like have deliberate, like this is what we're bringing in, this is what we're playtesting, these are changes we're making for the betterment of the game in its entirety moving forward, and we're about to see some of those very thoughtful reactive changes in the cards that we're seeing, which are more impactful than just the naming sequence. We haven't talked about it yet. The thing to a keyword that is now going to be permanently changed is literally the words that I use to just describe these things to new players every time I teach them. because if the sooner they start thinking about this as the timing window, the faster they learn what's actually happening. And now all the cards will actually say it in the correct order. So let's continue through what's next in the article order.
All right, we got Trouble with Tangaika, which just a
Really good
card.
explanation here.
Yes.
It's better. It's better-ish.
All right, so the Trouble with Tangaika. Every House and Winds of Exchange has a special rare card that forces the deck's token creature to be something specific in case of Unfathomable. The card is Tangaika, and it's loyal minion cultist. During the playtesting months, during the past couple months of playtesting, people kept reporting the cultist decks just weren't working. The requirement of needing 5 cultists in play before you could bring out Tangaika was too much. Tangaika was rarely getting into play. Oh, I'm choking.
Don't die.
Somebody pat me on the back. And even when it did, it usually wouldn't last long due to the abundance of creature control in the set. In short, cultist decks weren't fun. The solution was to rework both Tangaika and cultists, and also add a third card to the group, a special artifact that we won't spoil today. For now, here is a look at the new version of the previously spoiled cards.
So now we have cultist at Unfathomable 2 power, has an action, destroy cultist, which, are we to assume this is self-referential? Can you destroy their cultist? I'm not actually sure here. If
I think
you
it's
do,
self-referential. That's my guess.
It doesn't stay, so it is something that we can
I don't know. I actually don't know the answer to this. If you do, ward a friendly creature. So we can talk about the value of this later in a second, but now let's make sure we understand Tangaika because it's different. It's 2 amber, 25 power still. You cannot play Tangaika unless you control 4 or more cultists. So it is much more easy to play it.
5
it has
4.
that splash attack 5. And then after fight, gain 1 amber. So it can still gain, and now we're seeing that after fight effect, which we're about to talk about. Now we don't see the artifact. The artifact could make this all potentially a lot better, because like if the artifact has something to do with like when cultists die, you get something or there's some value out of them dying, I could see this whole process being a lot better. Because until I see the artifact, I have no clue why you're giving up an amber to ward something and losing a reaping body.
You could also, if the artifact goes ahead and will spit out 4 at a time, that would allow you to play Tangaika right away. And with an artifact with a hard R being more restricted, I understand, but I'm saying that would be a better step in the line of being able to play Tangaika.
A ton. It's
we know
still a lot. And that's
we know
one.
Guiltspine School pumps out 3 token creatures, right? So that's another unfathomable creature. Now it's a rare, but we have
this
relatively
will be a super rare, because they're all linked. That's 3 cards out of your 12 cycle. Like this artifact, actually no, because cultist is just a token, so it's 2 cards.
It's two cards,
and that are 2 out of your 12 cycles. That's not as bad. But the artifact, I still think, because all of this forces your cultist to be your token, and we've already talked several times about the token. The value of the token of the deck is going to be the value of the deck in a lot of cases. Because we've already started to see enough of the token generation on common, uncommon. When we see them on rares, they generally generate a bunch. So, like, you're going to live or die based on the value of your token. And the cultist makes me super, super sad unless the artifact has something to do with some kind of bonus you're getting when they're dying. Because right now, in most gameplay, it is not worth giving up a reaping body to ward one thing one time.
Correct. Well, and you're comparing it to things like Amberling, which then with the artifact that's coming in for Amberling, you're going ahead and giving them 4, like, huge power, huge armor. That artifact really has to help our cultists.
But I'm not even talking about...
I know, but we want to do a comparison to see.
But not even in comparison, but like the because you're giving up that action, right? So that is an amber. Yes. You're giving up, like I just don't. The cases where you need to do that are relatively small through the majority of Keyforge play. Like, is there going to be moments where you're going to sacrifice one just to ward another? Yes, that definitely is going to happen at some point in time. It's just it's going to be a low percentage of time.
Mhm.
I thought
And you're not gonna ward your Tangika, right? Because he's 25
No.
power. So either he's gonna die or he's gonna live, right? Like it's not gonna.
We did see the succubus-like fish creature. Yes, that would be something you would ward, sure. But you're still giving up an amber for that and a creature forever.
Mm-hmm.
Like you are paying quite a bit for that ability.
So the key line that actually stood out to me that I highlighted when I read through this article was Tangika was rarely getting into play. Nope. And even when it did, it usually wouldn't last long due to the abundance of creature control in the set. That line, abundance of creature control in the set, we were really talking early on. One, hopefully there's going to be a lot of token creatures that are being generated. From the playtesters that I've talked to, that is still something that I think is lacking. So I hope that continues to change. I don't know if it will, but the amount of token created per cycle through your deck was not enough, in my opinion, is the feedback that I'm getting. So hopefully I'm dead wrong, and I will state it on air if I am. But I want to see that we are pumping out tokens consistently, not here's 3 tokens for a round or here's 6 tokens for a cycle. It's just not going to be enough. And if we're looking at 6 for a cycle and you have to have 4 of them out for Tangika, that's where I could really see some issues.
I still don't see him being very.
No. He's not
play. I mean, 4 creature. Number 1. Wow, that's tough. 4 critters, huh? That have to.
I don't think that the 4 is actually that hard to achieve, honestly.
You don't think so? I think it's going to be much harder.
We've seen very few fish cards, but in all of the sets that we've seen a lot of cards spoiled, we've seen at least one card that generates multiple tokens at rare or uncommon. So I don't think 4 will be hard to get. But again, I go back to your deck's value, a large chunk of it, because you're making them hopefully most turns, is the value of the token. The problem is the cultist. Unless the artifact gives a lot of support to this cultist, or prevents it from dying when it uses the action, or make it reap and then not die. If the artifact does that, then we're talking about a really good token setup. So we have to see the artifact.
Tangika is still a junk card.
It's
You're
2
making
amber.
Gives you
It's
2
amber. It's going ahead and being a big body, but
Right.
I think it's going to come down to the big creature control. To be honest, we have not had a
Still
huge
dies
chunk
the
of the
gateway.
card.
Still
Well, but that's what
dies
I'm
to all board clears.
But that's what I'm saying. We haven't seen those cards spoiled, which is why Keyforge Celebration is going to be phenomenal. And you're opening up cards and seeing them for the first time and not having them spoiled and knowing what's happening. But they're telling us there's an abundance of creature control in the set. We haven't seen it yet, though, guys. And so
Wookiee's going to win the alliance with the Tangika. Alliance sealed, Wookiee wins. Tangika for the win.
Tangika for the win. But I like that line. I think that it's going to be important for creature control, but I also think that we need to see how many tokens per cycle we're going to be seeing.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't think anything with the fish house is winning KFC. I'm just they need.
I mean, at the moment, unless something drastically changed, you could have just.
We haven't seen a lot of cards from them.
But is ever going to win anything?
It's not the fish house. KFC is all about chicken.
That's why. That's why.
Too bad, dad joke. I'm sorry. I'll back out slowly here.
Backing up. And then can we talk for a minute how the cultists are just aliens from Alien?
I don't see that.
Really?
They
Look at
don't
the one in
look
the bottom
like
right
xenomorphs.
corner. The dude looks just like a xenomorph.
Okay.
Look at the head. Look at
That
the head.
one. That one looks like a xenomorph. The rest of them don't really look like that. Oh, the one on the left does too.
Oh,
Interesting.
Weird. Anyways, let's move into Disciple Unleashed. Speaking of unfun things, recent playtesting also demonstrated that Sanctum Special Token Creature Disciple needed some help. Again, another house that needs a lot of help. Originally, Disciple said Disciple cannot be used if it has a non-monk neighbor, which is supposed to be its trade-off for having a token creature with 3 power and 2 armor. In practice, this just did not work. Most Disciple decks had to work very hard to maintain a battle line sufficiently staffed by adjacent monks. It was fragile and the payoff wasn't there. This time, the solution was pretty straightforward. Change Disciple's base stat to a power of 1 and 0 armor, and have both stats increase when it has a monk's neighbor. Now, even if you have 1 Disciple in the battle line, it can still at least be used for something. Good change.
Yeah, this is good, right? So,
Yeah.
Wild Wormhole podcast had named the Disciple the worst token creature when they released. Now, I don't know if that's correct.
Did
but
they
that was their
even
take.
read the fish one that's like a 1 power
Did
exhaust?
they even meet Blorb?
section?
What?
Blorb
well,
is
actually,
not bad.
they did not like
Blorb's-
Blorb, and
Blorb's
I
not bad.
added. I immediately added D House, and I was like, Blorb is better than Scientist. And he was like, and they said Scientist was number one. And then
Researcher.
there was
You mean researcher, sir?
right now it's
Scientist
research.
is
So
pretty
then
good.
Yeah,
that was my.
actually,
It is good.
researcher's
It is.
pretty good.
And I don't actually know if it's better, but I think Blorb is pretty good, right? And Researcher's pretty good, but you know, in my chatter back and
Hold
forth
on,
with them,
hold
I
on.
see.
Blorb Hive is pretty good. Blorb just happens to come with it.
But sure, but
Yeah.
that's the shebang, right? That's the thing.
That's just shtick.
It's linked. It's there.
Yeah. I mean, Berserker is way better than it otherwise would have been because it comes with Star Song, right?
Right. Riva. But anyways, yeah, we got way off track. Where were we?
I think for Disciples, they went ahead and were transparent. Again, GG's been transparent with their communication. They
Yay.
are honestly looking at playtesting and the feedback from the community and continuing to adjust. If we dinged FFG for anything, it was a lack of communication.
Yes.
This is extremely open, and I appreciate that. I love it. That means that they're willing to go ahead and listen to us and invest in the game that we dearly love.
All right. Moving forward, we got After Fight and After Reap. So is this just, I mean, I read this portion. I'm guessing this is just verbiage to make it helpful for new players. Yes?
Yeah.
But that's
It's great.
That's what Z was talking about
Yeah.
earlier. That helps out new players tremendously, is for the timing window to know when things are happening. So here, after Reap, after Fight. Let's be super
Actually,
clear and change this. Go ahead.
Especially the fight part, because like the player, like every single Keyforge player starts this game with, oh, I fight my 5 into your 5. I got a fight trigger. I gain 1 amber off of Headhunter.
I
And they're
still
like,
think that's the
no.
way it should have been.
No,
I still
it's
think
not.
that fight triggers should have happened even if the creature dies. That's me personally.
Yeah, I
but-
disagree. Like in my mind, in the Keyforge Crucible, the creature that's fighting does its fight thing and then collects its spoils. And it's got to be alive to collect the spoils, and whatever those spoils are.
But the creature doesn't collect the spoils. The Archon collects the spoils. Go die,
The
minion.
creature is always collecting it for the Archon.
Maybe the Archon gets his hands dirty every now and again.
No,
What do you mean?
they're
How do you know?
they're
You don't know my
gods in
Archon.
ivory towers, and they're handing up these special crystals that are magical.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
never
want you to
see-
go ahead and read the fan fiction and the literature that's out there, and it helps explain it. Archon's kind of over. This is the army. They're going out and doing all the battles, and they get summoned back.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And you never see the Archons in the art. You only see it on the back, standing upon high.
Ooh.
That's
These
right.
cards have art.
Yes, good art. I like a lot of the art in WoW. There's lots of good stuff in here.
I would have to say I would like some more dark art, which we think we're getting next set. Ooh, I'm
Yes.
excited for. I'm already looking into the next set. I am so
Yeah.
excited for whatever. I don't even know what they are, but
Grim.
they look
The
amazing.
reminders.
Well, it's Grim Reminders, but what's the house gonna be? We don't know.
Skelelobots.
Ooh, I like it.
Factors.
Stamp it, trademark it, send it to print. Skelelobots.
Skelelobots.
I like it.
Yeah. Yep.
But they might be giving Old Shadows a run for his money. It's my favorite house. Just saying.
Ooh, look at you.
I know. Moving up in the world. All right.
Yeah.
Power and rarity tweaks. Many times a simple change makes all the difference. Data analysis of hundreds of thousands of decks. Deck list showed that Equidon had the lowest average creature count in set. There was a lot of reasons for this that we won't go into now. But we wanted to get Equidon creature average more on par with other houses in the set. We addressed this issue with a rarity swap. Belligerent Guard changed from uncommon to common, and Shopping Spree changed from common to uncommon. This also gave us a good reason to lower Belligerent Guard's power to 8, which means it is more in line with larger giants of the past. What
We
was it
just
before,
joked
12?
about it would be like bigger than all other giants that are actually giants in the giant house.
We may have
Yes.
pointed that out.
Yeah.
I like this change. I think it makes sense. I kind of like where the guards puts as far as this cost benefit analysis you have to do. And like it can be used as, I mean, just like we talked about before, you're expecting to reap with this thing more than one time because it's so big, or it's a gigantic punch to something big. I mean, this punch is high. Like this will kill some Saurians, like some of the better ones. In Worlds Collide Saurian too.
What do you think about putting it in the common slot? Because I know that your philosophy is always we want to see valuable, impactful cards in that common slot.
This is the house we've already seen a lot of commons that are really good at.
Have.
Like literally at the time, this was one of the worst cards we had seen at its common slot level. Even moving it to common, if this is literally the worst card we have seen in Equidon, it's still better than almost all of Worlds Collide Brobnar.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean all? Almost. It is better than all World Collide Brobnar.
No, they had that one that like you kill someone, you get an amber, they lose an amber. Like
That's
a
how
great
good
card.
it was.
Slam.
You can't even remember it.
Well, because no one plays
Slam.
the set.
Oh, that's
the house.
No one plays the house from the set.
Yeah,
all
Berserker.
Right.
I do think it's interesting that like I don't know if we've seen before a common card that has a trait.
Slam. He was saying Berserker Slam.
Yeah. I don't think we've seen a common card that has the trait of a different house before. Maybe we have. Like we've definitely seen those crossovers, right? You think
wasn't Terror a knight, like in set 1?
Well, he was a demon and a knight. So
yeah, but that is that cross though.
And
you
had,
well, so I'm
Opal
thinking
Knight.
like Shadowsaurus, right? Is a
right,
is a dinosaur, right? Like something where it's the alternate race or whatever, if you will. Like, and I like how they sort of theme that and they have that sort of crossover situations. It can make some interesting scenarios.
Jargoogle is Beast and Mutant.
Yeah, way to ruin set 9.
What's that?
That's set 9. That whole thing you just came out with. That's coming out in set 9.
Crossovers.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. I did it.
You are the worst.
Solved it.
I think outside of Star Alliance, though, you are right. Like this is probably the first common slot we're seeing that is purely another race inside of a house.
Yeah, that's more just interesting than anything else.
Yeah.
What do we think about?
You're not going to go find an elf common outside of Shadows, right? Like that's what we're talking about here. There's not some demon common anywhere outside of this.
Although it'd be funny to see a demon in Sanctum.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd laugh.
No. Other than Mavericks.
Yeah.
The card that didn't survive is next.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this hurt your... No, this isn't the card you were... But Art Project was an Exodon action card that unforged an opponent's key. The card made a brief appearance in our Gen Con preview video. This was a controversial card amongst the playtesters, and we discussed many possible revisions, but were never settled on a version of the ability that felt good. In the end, Ghost Galaxy decided to cut the card from Winds of Exchange. All is not lost. Art Project may be visited in a future set. For those of you who don't know what Art Project is, it was an action play, unforge an opponent's key. If you do purge Art Project, and your opponent archives the top 6 cards of their deck.
And we had talked
about this,
we talked quite a while about timing. So if I go ahead and play Art Project at the end of the deck, which is when I want to, you actually don't have the ability to draw enough cards. If you have nothing in your deck or you have 1 card, there you go. You're not getting the full 6 value. And I just unforged for quite some value. So I think that they were transparent. I like it. We'll see. Maybe it comes back in a future set, but I like that they were open and explaining, hey, we're going to move on.
I wish it had stayed. I wanted it to stay. Let them draw 6 cards or something. Like, I wanted it to stay.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been cool.
They definitely needed to adjust it. I don't mind it going away.
The archive is not that big of a penalty. I agree. Like, it should have been something else. But I like the idea of a truly unforging of a key. So I would hope they do revisit it and bring something like this back in. Well, they can keep it here, right? It's already made. But yeah, we'll see. I was hoping it would stay.
But
I mean, 'cause we need
to be completely unforge a key though without gaining the amber back, like cards are not an equal comparison to amber that you have ready to forge.
Well, that depends on the deck you're playing against, right? Like, there's a lot of Coda and AOA, specifically AOA. If you make them draw 6 cards, you're probably going to lose the game because the top competitive AOA decks are like, I'm going to combo off now. Thank you for the 6 cards.
Mm-hmm.
But picture what but picture what we were talking about at the beginning. This isn't just for competitive Keyforge, also very casual. And so I think in the larger scope of the game, that's why you see that cut.
All right, so a few more changes. We're going to go through kind of the last few changes here. Finally, we had a handful of previously spoiled cards that changed for one reason or another during playtesting, but don't fall into a neat category. After it changed to Cultist and Tengaika, Cadet needed a new ability that didn't involve wards. Edict of Nerotaurus proved a tough card to write. We went through several revisions in effort to make the ability as clear as possible. Election was originally a bit boring. I think we said that.
JR was talking about this because his original understanding was way more entertaining and good than what it was.
I still vote that it should say, hey, you get six total counters, not 6 yay or nay, but 6 counters, and you have the ability to play it and it to fire off on your turn and control the destiny. Otherwise, it's going to consistently lean towards the nay, which is
and it's
what
a good
they
thing
discovered.
We didn't print business cards with yay or nay counters on the back. Good thinking, Jazzcore.
Yeah,
we won one. Yes.
Let me see. MK2 Generator was originally a slow card in a house that had a particular deck type that really needed effective token creature generation. Phalanx Leader's art had its facing the wrong direction relative to its original ability. So let's go through some of these. So Phalanx Leader, still a 4-power dinosaur soldier. Make a token creature immediately to Phalanx Leader's left. After fight, after reap, each creature to Phalanx Leader's left gains +2 power for the remainder of turn. Good change, bad change?
It's fine.
That's fine. All right. Cadet, still a 1-power human token creature. Destroyed, ready, Cadet's most powerful neighbor.
So I thought the original version was not great, and this one's less great. I don't know.
Like about par. Like the change didn't really.
Well, the other one had warded the most powerful neighbor, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the value of destroy triggers, right, in gameplay is their value increases somewhat dynamically if your opponent does not want to kill them, because that means when you go into your big token board turn, you get more reap value out of them and push towards the win con.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really easy to kill creature, has no elusive, has no armor, has 1 power. And your opponent is now highly incentivized to kill them, because if you kill them on your opponent, on their turn, you literally get no value out of them.
I was going to say, because he's probably dying on your opponent's turn.
Yep. Easily. 1 poison wave kills them all. Kerwallop kills them all and gives them a bunch of space bucks. There's a bunch of ways that are easily killing this in almost every set. Every set has something that does a lot of low damage things to this. So this is just it went from very underwhelming because at least they didn't want to kill it sometimes because you're warding the neighbors. But we talked about how even then, Gateway, all the wards fall off immediately anyway. Literally nothing happens. They're just all dead and useless. But at least before, if you're putting them next to bigger creatures, the damage stuff will at least, okay, you kill all the cadets. I warded up all my people next to them. That was something, a reason not to maybe want to play Poison Wave or something at some point in time. Now, I don't know. This is super, super underwhelming because the only way to really implement them on your off Star Alliance turn is to then spend your own creature control to kill them to ready something you're playing. We're starting to talk about a lot of cards for this to do anything. And then again, you're killing your own people that can reap again. This is not normally what you want to do when you want to reap to win the game.
Well, they can't reap again if we get into Edict of Nerotaurus. So
sure.
I guess I'm confused at what the change from this card was. I thought that's how it read.
I don't think it is changed. It's the wording is now more clear.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Still gonna drive a lot of confusing board states, I think.
Well, but I think it follows with the card Neurosaurus. It's just coming out, but they're trying to be specific because that can be a confusing card.
Still gonna think it's gonna lead to a lot of confusing board states. Did you reap with that guy last? Okay, now you have to fight, and I don't know. And
it's
then
still really good if you have a scientist with that card.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true.
Or
Blorb. No, it doesn't matter. Blorb
anything with an action.
Berserker. And then election needs 6 EA counters on it or 6 NA counters on it, not 6 total counters on it. So I think this kind of becomes a nothing burger at this point.
But the NA does something fun
now.
Yeah.
It does different things.
Oh, it does?
They
Yeah.
changed it.
Yeah. So if election has 6 yay counters on it, destroy it and destroy each creature. If election has 6 nay counters on it, destroy each artifact.
Oh, that's the big change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like it.
That one's nice.
Yeah. So now it's more in line with like kind of what Ewok was thinking originally, whereas like there was this battle. Now there's this battle depending on your like what's going on. And it's like a low key artifact control card. So it's like
it's still in the rare slot though.
I mean, 6 turns from now I can blow up your artifact.
No,
you're talking about
yeah.
Every reap.
6 reaps from now.
Yeah,
that's one token turn.
And you get the first shot.
Well, we don't know, but yes, maybe. Yeah, you do get the first shot.
So I like this.
Yeah. No, like you get your first shot in multiple ways because like you're playing it to the board, you're reaping after you play it, and you can like it's your turn, so you can control creature count on the other side of the board.
Well, we're also assuming that this set is going to be like the previous 2 set, which I mean, we know obviously tokens are here, but we don't know how much creatures are going to play an impact in it.
I mean, I'm hoping the tokens are going to be generated.
I know we're hoping, but like this could be Coda, where it's just like, oh, I play a bunch of cards and win. Like we don't know. Like it doesn't feel that way, but it could.
I mean, but we've seen no actions that even like win a game. We've seen nothing that's comparable. Oh, actually, this removed one, but that was rare. We've not seen anything close to Control of the Week. We've not seen anything close to battle fleets in conjunction with each other.
This is true.
There's no Restaurant Guntus. Like, there's no. We have not even seen any card.
There's no disc, so
yeah.
Key cheats.
We've not seen a key cheat, have we?
Yes. No, not that I've seen.
I do not count Blorb.
Well, yes, I guess technically Blorb was there.
So what about Blorb Hive? Did we forget about
everything?
Well, but
Blorb is like redacted. It's really fun when it happens, but like it's very hard to build a game plan around it.
Blorb mother, Blorb father.
Blorb will be a plushie soon, maybe.
Yes.
I mean, I guess there's a scenario where if you just make that many tokens, we'll see. We need more cards.
We shall see. All right. Did we have anything left here? I think that's about it. That's going to wrap us up today, kiddos.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Ewok, you say this. I'll only be speaking to you on Thursdays.
Well, but I have to do it at the end.
Oh, okay.
So I will go ahead and take and say that hopefully the new intro you guys all love. My beautiful 7-year-old was super excited, and that is her playing for our Halloween parade song. So shout out to you, Emery. I love you.
But Z, final thoughts.
Super pumped about celebrations. I think next week we should talk about strategy from Archon and Alliance. Maybe, hopefully, by next Thursday we will have a restricted list to actually have value to that Alliance discussion strategically. But yeah, super pumped. People are showing up to the stores. We're going to be setting up a new Returning to Keyforge at my local event later in the month after the celebration. So hopefully we'll get some new players there too. But yeah, keep playing Keyforge. Reach out to your friends, get them into the stores, and let's build on this community.
Drascourt?
Super excited for the celebration. Can't wait to be there. Can't wait to crack open some Winds of Exchange and see folks that we chat with online and all that. Hang out with you guys. It's gonna be a great time.
And don't forget, tickets to the Drascourt experience are on sale at your local Wookiee. It's $10 a head.
Just the low price. $10, Wookiee. You got to check this up.
I got to jack it up?
Yeah, man.
Oh,
$99.
$99.
No.
Yeah.
I can't drink that much.
Come
you
hang
know.
out. Come hang out with us. We're gonna have fun. No, I'm excited to see people. There's going to be quite a few individuals who are there. It was fun going to Kansas City and seeing people, and that's our Keyforge community is amazing.
Oh, and
So
it's
there's
not
more
9
laughter
hours
and
away,
fun that's
thank
there.
God. It's
But
not 9 hours. We won't have to get up at the butt crack of dawn. Oh, I'm so happy.
But for everyone who's traveling, travel safe. Play Keyforge online. I mean, right now, Z, what did you post? Like there was 31 people playing the last time you had gone ahead and checked
It
in.
was like 34 people playing TCO on some random Monday at like 4 o'clock.
That's awesome, guys. So
And what were
guys,
they playing,
girls,
Z?
I think like 10 of them were playing Alliance and the rest were casual. I couldn't see them.
Oh.
But I think that if you have a chance, I know that Sunday's still firing off. Sheep is going ahead and running that for Archon. Tuesdays is sealed here, both firing at 8 o'clock Central Time. And then Lokakar is going ahead and running Pink Bunny Games with a sweet prize wall. Again, GG has given some nice new prizes. If you haven't checked that out, came to Lokar. And guys, these individuals have been running events consistently throughout the pandemic. So go throw some support. It's a great online community. People jump in for chat, and it's a lot of fun. It's nice and relaxing. So go and join each of those events. I know we have ABR. There's over 100 people already participating there. There's just a lot that's happening for our Keyforge community. So great job, all the content providers. Keep it up.
And as always, X-Ray sucks. That's going to do it for us this week, guys. We'll see y'all next week.
May the Forge,
everyone.
May the Forge be with you.
Stop it.
Yay, Emery.